always felt alone. My whole life. For as long as I can remember. I don't know if I like it. Or if I'm just used to it. But I do know this. Being lonely does things to you.
Shit, bitter and angry all the time just eats away at you. Normally, I like to talk about characters using 3 words, but this character is going to be a little different, mainly because I relate to this character. Well, I used to relate to him, but a lot of what this character is still resonates with me to this day. Simon Henriksson from Cry of Fear. I was planning on doing a Cry of Fear video, but a certain British furry beat me to it. I still plan to, but don't want to be called a copy of Pyro. Yes, I do take inspiration from Pyro's style of content, but I like to think I'm different as he mainly covers unknown games, and I like to cover both known and unknown games while diving into what makes a character iconic and memorable. Or maybe I'm just a Pyro clone and I'm coping really hard right now, I take your pick. With my existential crisis out of the way, the 3 words I'd best sum up Simon are depression, loneliness, and the feeling of powerlessness. Normally, I would use these words to give you an idea of the personality of the character. Artyom for his bravery and selflessness, Captain Martin Walker for his delusion and cowardice, and Arthur for his loyalty and drive. But Simon is a special case where I want to go a little more in depth than just character good play game. And you probably notice this video is a bit longer compared to my other character analysis. So let's talk about Simon and why I personally relate to him years after I first heard of Cry of Fear. Before we start, besides the jokes at the beginning, I'm not going to be funny in this video. No outdated memes or corny jokes. I'm dead serious as Simon and the topics I'm about to discuss are extremely personal to me and a lot of others. So please, I'd advise extreme caution when watching this video as I'll be discussing loneliness, depression, self-harm, and suicide. So if you have a problem with any of those topics, I'd recommend you stop watching now. I'm making it very clear that I will not tolerate misinformation or bias on the subject. More than likely someone will or has shared a story of their experience with one of these topics in the comments, and I actually encourage it, as talking about this kind of experience or another kind is the best way to heal, even if it's only with strangers. So please be supportive, or at least try not to say anything to attack them. Also, spoilers for Cry of Fear. It's an amazing game and an amazing story, if a little outdated by today's standards. So let's talk about Simon. Let's start with Simon's backstory. I'm sorry if I mispronounce some of these names, as Swedish is a hard language. Simon's life before the events of Cry of Fear are hinted at through dialogue and flashbacks. Simon grew up in his hometown of Kirkville with his mother. Nothing is mentioned about his father, however, and it is unknown if Simon has ever even met him. Through Simon's introduction quote, he claims that he has felt alone his whole life, which indicates that he has felt as though he doesn't have many friends and has lived alone most of the time, with the only company coming from his mother. It is hinted that Simon's mother is overprotective, as proven by the text messages she sends him throughout the game, likely meaning Simon did not socialize often in his younger years. Simon is characterized through a struggle with mental health. Evidence of self-harm is visible through the cuts on his left wrist, which are revealed when you use the morphine syringes to heal throughout the game's duration. Despite his challenges, Simon has an interest in art and photography, which may serve as an outlet for his emotions. He also enjoys listening to DSBM, depressive suicidal black metal, contrary to the band patches on his bag, which are confirmed not to reflect his actual music taste. During his lifetime, Dr. Purnell states that Simon has lived with mental problems for a long time, which has proven to be anxiety and depression, which Simon claims to be generated by his loneliness. In Simon's words in the IRL trailer, he claims that
more often than not, I'm alone. And anxiety and depression controls my life every day.
Simon would occasionally take a train to Stockholm and take lonely walks around the city, most likely to help him take his mind off being lonely. Simon is shown to be an occasional smoker, seen clearly in his apartment where he has an ashtray on his table and in the cigarette Easter egg, which might prove the stress he endures. When Simon started college, he met a girl named Sophie who he became fond of. Simon became close to Sophie after helping her with some problems she had endured, going as far as to say Simon was the only male at college who would help her through her troubling times, making her life more bearable. Eventually, day, Simon became so attached to Sophie that he came to the conclusion that he loved her and eventually built up the courage to confess this to her, but she rejected him. Even after Simon insisted that he loved her, she backed away from him, saying that she...
Sophie,
Simon, let me go.
I love you, Sophie.
I have to leave. Please.
I fucking love you.
Sophie's rejection debilitated Simon deeply, and he went as far as to blame himself for her choosing to reject him, leaving him unable to move past the pain of her rejection. Depending on gameplay, Simon will either ignore his emotions, allowing them to fester to the point where they punish both Simon and Sophie, or despite being hurt, move on. Before the events of Cry of Fear, as seen in the first cutscene of the game, Simon was a victim of a hit and run, in which he was pinned to a building by a car whilst trying to help an injured man late at night. While he surprisingly survived the incident, he was paralysed from the waist down and confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life, subjecting him to further mental trauma which drove him into becoming resentful and spiteful of his own life. Dr. Purnell was assigned as Simon's psychiatrist following the accident, and using cognitive therapy, Simon was instructed to write a book about his emotions and anxiety to get all of his trauma out of his head that he had suffered from what he insists on calling the Black Day. From this long explanation, we now know more about Simon. He was raised by an overbearing mother, never developing any social connections during his younger years. Simon is diagnosed with anxiety and depression, often resenting himself and constantly spiraling into despair. He suffered an unfortunate accident that took the ability to use his legs, no doubt adding more cracks to his already fractured mindset. And most importantly, Simon is alone. With the use of his legs taken from him and nobody to lean on, he only continued to spiral. Being assigned a psychiatrist, Dr. Purnell, who instructed Simon to write a book about his feelings and how to help deal with the trauma of the Black Day. Now, everything I'm about to say going forward is my own interpretation of the game's events and what I believe to be canon, as Simon is an unreliable narrator. With a mix of reality and Simon's mind overlapping each other, at this point I'm going to be heading into spoiler territory. Cry of Fear is an amazing game, if a little outdated and hard to pick up, but it's 100% worth the time commitment. Just be aware it's very easy to get soft locked in certain areas. Let's start with a psychology lesson. I'll keep it brief. Humans are social animals. We thrive when we talk to other people. It keeps our minds stable. Even people who call themselves introverts still need some form of human connection, just less of it, while extroverts need more. If a person were to go too long without human connection, we start to talk to ourselves, and when that isn't enough, we start to talk to inanimate objects. Take Wilson from Castaway. Being alone on an island for years with nobody to talk to but yourself can drive you to insanity. So the main character talks to a volleyball named Wilson. It kept him sane and stable. Now take Simon. With little to no human connection in his life, it could be a driving factor into his mental illness. Now let's take a look into the two individuals in Simon's life. Sophie and Dr. Purnell. Sophie was likely Simon's only friend up to that point, being the only person Simon had a connection to in a long time. Of course, Simon went head over heels for her, and when rejected, he lost the only person he ever felt close to, diving him deeper into himself, taking up cutting himself just to relieve some of the mental anguish he felt. And after the events of the Black Day, he was assigned Dr. Purnell. And with Simon's already rapidly declining mind, Simon was skeptical of the doctor's treatments. At first, Purnell gave Simon antidepressants to help combat the issues Simon was dealing with, but it wasn't enough. Simon kept asking for more and more, so Purnell offered the book treatment instead, and with Simon with very little to lose went with it. After getting home from a visit to Dr. Purnell's, he sat down and wrote out the events we play through, the whole game being a dark interpretation of Simon's mind, which leads us into the two choices we can make that determine Simon's fate and how it will affect both him and the two people he was connected with. In the book, Simon finds Sophie on the rooftop. At this point in the book, Simon had just fought through hell to get there and was trying to warn Sophie of the dangers, but Sophie only just wanted to talk about them and their time together.
What the? Sophie? What the hell are you doing here?
Oh, hi, Simon.
What? I don't understand anything now.
What is it that you don't understand?
What do you think? The whole fucking city is crawling with monsters, and I'm just... I mean, suddenly you just turn up on these rooftops? What are you doing here? Are you hurt?
Monsters? Simon, you're scaring me.
Scaring? What the fuck? This is just sick. Well, maybe it's just...
Let's talk about something else. How have you been?
I don't know. I'm just confused.
Not too bad, thank you. Better now that you're here.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here too, Sophie. I've been alone all this time.
I see. Sounds tough.
But what about yourself? Why are you here? Are you hiding up here from those things?
No, I really don't understand what you're talking about. I'm just thinking.
Thinking? Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that too. Do you remember how you got here?
I don't know.
Because I woke up myself, but it wasn't an alley and... Wait, I can probably show you.
No, hush, Simon. Can't we just sit here for a while?
Yeah. Sure.
Do you want to know something?
Yes. Yes, I do. I want to know just what in the fuck is going on here. Is it about that doctor guy in the gas mask?
Doctor? Simon, please. No, I mean about school.
Yeah? What?
Well, I don't know if you knew, but I always had a hard time at school. You were pretty much the only guy who was kind to me. I never said it, but I really want to thank you for making my life a little bit more bearable. You're a cute guy, Simon.
Yeah. Yeah, you did have it pretty rough. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I helped you because I liked you. You were one of the prettiest girls at school and... I don't know, I guess I wanted to protect you. I don't love you, but I think I could if we got to know each other better. You're so beautiful, Sophie.
Why haven't you said anything?
I never had the courage. I mean, I wasn't exactly the toughest kid in school, was I? But now we're here alone, I feel stronger. I've always liked you, Sophie.
Oh, Simon, I don't know what to say. I always liked you too, but not in that way. I always thought that you were just a friend, nothing more. I'm sorry.
But... oh, shit. Damn, so much stuff has happened lately. All this craziness, the darkness and the monsters. I think I'm going crazy. I'm so glad I found you.
I know. A lot of things have been going on lately.
Yeah, really. Was it you who tried to phone me, by the way?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you. To get away from it all.
Oh, but what? Out here?
No, away from everything. Away from all this.
What? What do you mean?
You know full well what I mean.
Wait a sec, you mean all... No! No! No!
she? What the fuck? This isn't making any sense.
And here we're met with Simon's first choice, faced with Carcass, a manifestation of Simon's grief towards Sophie. His pain manifested into Carcass's gruesome form. Simon can either fight Carcass, confronting his pain and grief head on, choosing to endure the pain and eventually moving on, knowing that Sophie will still be there for him, even if only as friends. Or Simon can run from Carcass, in turn letting the pain fester within him, bottling it up and never truly moving on, never being able to move past her rejection. We will come back to the consequences of this choice later. Let's move on to the next choice. Later in the asylum, Simon runs into the doctor, now asking for Simon's help. The doctor instructs Simon to retrieve a gun and bring it to him.
What the fuck do you want? You're crazy.
Come closer.
I'm close enough.
Come closer.
I can't. There's a big fucking gate in the way.
That's why I want you to come closer. How? I need a gun.
You got a gun! The subway. The guy you shot. Remember?
No. There's a gun in the bowling alley. Get it for me. Now.
Here. There's no ammo in it though. Now, give me the key.
Thank you, Simon. I'm glad you can trust me. Now in your time. Here.
You crazy bastard! I'll kill you!
Now Simon has a choice to either give the doctor the gun or keep it. Either way, the doctor will shoot Simon and run off. But this choice determines Simon's trust in Dr. Purnell. If Simon gave the gun to him, Simon in the real world begins to trust the doctor and his treatments, becoming more vocal in their sessions and giving the doctor more information into his mental health. If Simon holds on to the gun, Simon completely loses faith in the doctor, believing that he's just like everybody else, just out to hurt and mock him. So Simon stops going to his sessions and begins to resent the doctor. Simon's choices in the book determine the fate of both Sophie and Purnell, so let's discuss the endings. Ending 1. If Simon chooses to run from Carcass and not trust the doctor, Simon, after reading the last chapter in his book, he chooses to end the life of both Dr. Purnell and Sophie before taking his own life. His suicide note is filled with hate and anger at everyone he believed were out to mock and hurt him, believing his actions were justified as he believed that both Sophie and Purnell were actively laughing at him behind his back and mocking him.
Dear Diary, this is it. I have ended my miserable life. I couldn't take this shit anymore. Being trapped in a wheelchair for the rest of my damn life is just not worth it. The surgeons told me everything would be okay. They gave me hope. Only to crush it under the soles of their feet and watch me destroy myself. They lied to me! They didn't know what it felt like! I thought I could handle my emotions. Control them. Contain them. Prove them all wrong. But I was just too weak. I let it slip through my fingers, out of my grip. It poisoned me. It clouded my mind. They didn't know anything. They only feel the cold touch of their knives. They gave me antidepressants. It helped me think clearly, to see things through. I took a couple of extra pills this afternoon. They showed me what I had to do in this short moment of clarity. They showed me that there was no one and nothing worth living for! They showed me how fake Sophie and my doctor were.
How they were laughing at me behind their masks when I wasn't looking. Laughing at me, my legs, thinking that they are so good, that they're better than me, pretending that they care about me. It's all bullshit! The pills showed me the truth today. They always did. They opened my eyes. They gave me wisdom. And I acted upon it. So, I had to kill Sophie and my doctor. My mentor. My counselor. I had to take them down with me. They're not laughing anymore. Oh, I wish I could have taken everybody with me. But unfortunately, my situation makes that impossible. To whoever is reading this, I hope my dead body will haunt you forever. Have fun scraping my brains off the wall. Fuck you!
This ending is the most horrifying, showing how Simon, with no support and nobody to rely on, it sent him into a manic episode and killed the two most important people in his life. Ending 2. If Simon chooses to run from Carcass and trust Dr. Purnell, this ending is the same as ending 1, but instead of killing both, he only kills Sophie before ending his own life. His note reads more obsessively, at first berating himself for his disability and how nobody wanted or loved him, before it turned into how he had to take Sophie with him, wanting to keep her all for himself, before saying goodbye.
To whoever is reading this, I'm hopefully dead. I just couldn't live this life anymore. My paralyzed legs made me worthless, and I felt like an outsider ever since the accident. Anxiety and depression controlled my life. And there was no way out of this bottomless pit. My friends looked right past me. My family abandoned me. Nobody wants a cripple. Especially one that would need your help. Fucking worthless. The only person that ever tried to help me was my doctor. He tried a lot. He is the only reason this book exists. Writing it has helped me put things into perspective, I think. But in the end, it hasn't really changed anything for me. I still felt like shit. I was still all alone in solitude. Purnell, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. There were no choices left. I made up my mind. Not everyone can be saved. I had to end my life. And I had to take my special person with me. Sophie. I wanted to keep her with me. I wanted to keep her all for myself. I hope her body is rotting away when you find her. This is my conclusion. This is my end. Farewell, everyone.
This ending shows how even with proper help, Simon is still a broken man. I don't condone what he does, but I understand it. In his isolation and even with Dr. Purnell's help, he just couldn't bear not being with her. So in his mind, he made sure that they would be together in death. A really disturbing ending. Ending 3. If Simon had fought Carcass but didn't trust the doctor's treatments, Simon kills Purnell and then himself. His note reads as a hate letter towards Purnell, blaming him for his suicide, wishing Sophie not to be shown his body, wishing her all the best before saying goodbye.
Finally, it's all over. By the time you are reading this, you will find my dead body covered in blood, with my head blown to bits. I know you might think I'm not, or wasn't, normal. I was crippled, stuck in a wheelchair, and that's why I had to die. I was broken, defective, full of emotional problems. My mind was stuck in a never-ending loop of anxiety, depression, and despair. A roller coaster with no end, and I wanted out so bad. This book writing tip was fucking bullshit. It only made me realize how truly fucked my life was. Ironic how that one person who was actually paid to help me only made it worse. Gave me that one last push, which was needed for me to end myself. And now he's dead. It's almost poetic. The only person who tried to help me was my only friend, Sophie. Please, tell her I'm sorry. I wish her all the best. Please don't show her this mess. This is my conclusion. This is my end. Farewell, everyone.
This ending is more hopeful, but it's still bitter, showing how Simon can survive even if Sophie doesn't love him in a romantic way. But without Purnell's treatments, his isolation was enough to drive him to killing himself and the doctor. Simon needs both Sophie and Purnell or his mental stability will rapidly decline. Simon without them both will die, it's only a matter of when. But Simon isn't a bad person, he just needs help. Let's talk about ending 4. Ending 4 has a different end chapter to the other 3 endings. If Simon chooses to confront his feelings towards Sophie and trusted Dr. Purnell's treatment, instead of Book Simon killing real Simon, the roles are reversed. Now real Simon is writing about how real Simon fights Book Simon, a metaphor of Simon fighting his inner demons. But sadly, in Simon's manic state, he shot and killed 2 police officers who were likely doing a wellness check. He was tried and sentenced to life in a mental hospital. But it's not all bad. Simon has recovered from most of his mental disorders, Dr. Purnell personally helping Simon and watching his progress. Sophie regularly visiting Simon and having a healthy friendship, with Sophie being happy for Simon when he hears about her new friend, writing a happy ending to his book. Just for him. Simon's note isn't a suicide note, but a thank you note, before he closes his book for good.
I stopped myself from doing it. From committing suicide. But it didn't only leave me alive. It also left 2 police officers dead. I killed them. Shot them both. This was not supposed to happen. Doctors testified that I was having a psychosis. Which means that my punishment won't be too hard for me to bear. I have to spend the rest of my life in a mental hospital, where nurses and doctors taking care of me. They let me finish my book, and it has helped me a lot. I wrote a happy ending, just for myself. I feel better now. I am more at peace with myself, even though I'm still stuck in this wheelchair. But I accept that now. I can never forgive myself for shooting those 2 officers, though.
But I have so many supportive people around me now, so I think I will be okay. Dr. Purnell is mentoring me and is watching my progress. I'm lucky to have him. Sophie visits me every once in a while. When the doctors let her, that is. They still think her visits are too destabilizing for me and that it hinders my progress. I keep on telling her how sorry I am for making her life miserable every time she's here. She just laughs a bit and tells me to stop being so silly. But I can see the damage I've done to her in her eyes every time she looks at me. She found a new friend, one who is there for her and treats her right. I'm happy for her. Though I'll miss the good moments we've had, knowing that they'll never come back. I think this is a good time to close this book. It has changed my life forever. The end.
This ending is bittersweet, but I still see it as all positives. Simon is now in a place where he can get the help he needs, still retaining his relationships with Sophie and Dr. Purnell, and maybe even having a few friends within the hospital, with Simon being more at peace with himself and seems to be more happy, even if locked in a mental hospital for the rest of his life. Simon is a masterclass on how to write a character with mental health problems, and he will always be a personal favourite of mine, because I relate to Simon a lot. This is where I'm going to be getting a little sappy, so if you're not interested, this is where the video ends. I relate to Simon because during my teenage years, I struggled a lot with isolation and loneliness, later being diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Even in my adult years, I still have problems with isolation. I have trouble being on my own for long periods of time, tending to have manic episodes where I would completely shut off and break down. So when I first heard of Cry of Fear and started watching a playthrough of the game, I related to Simon so much, and it made me feel like I wasn't so alone. And it was enough for me to get myself together. Yes, I'm engaged now and happy. I often look back and I'm grateful for how lucky I am. But that pain of all those years is still there. I'm still not fully recovered or ever be, but I'm in a better place and I'm slowly getting better, one step at a time. I know it seems a bit immature to relate real-life mental illness to a fictional character, but it helped me, and it got me to where I am now, so it worked for me. I used to believe that my life was nothing but pain and anger, that I would die alone and forgotten. And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way, but it gets better. I got better, and it will for you too. From my experience, it takes time, and it might get harder from now, but it will get better, as long as you hold out hope for a better tomorrow. Simon had his book, and I have content creation, and being able to interact with you all, even if it's only one way, is what keeps me coming back for more. And I'd personally like to thank you all for watching, subscribing, and sharing your own stories and experiences with these games. I read and respond to as many as I can, and I hope I get to see you all again in the next video. So once again, thank you all for watching.